In the quiet town of Villisca, Iowa, nestled beneath the sprawling Midwestern skies, a chilling tale unfolds in the early morning hours of June 10th, 1912. It was a tale of unimaginable horror that would haunt the town for generations to come.
The Villisca murder is really probably the most horrific murder event in Iowa history. You had 8 victims, 6 from one family and 2 who were neighbors that came in, were staying overnight, 2 children. And of those 8 victims, 6 of them were children. Let me just trace what happened the morning of the murder.
Okay.
The neighbors noticed that there was no activity around the house. These 4 kids, they would be out in the yard playing by this time. There was no animals in the little barn behind the house, hadn't been fed. So they called his brother, and he came down, and the doors were all locked. All the shades in the windows, you couldn't peer in the house, they were pulled down. And so the brother took a skeleton key and opened the door. He went across the front parlor to the back bedroom in the little house, and he pushed the door open. He looked in. The house was completely dark, and he saw that there were 2 figures lying in his bed downstairs, and they were covered over with sheets and bedclothes. There was blood on the bedstead behind them, and so he knew that something terrible had happened.
Welcome, dear seekers of the unknown, to another chilling episode of The Outer Realm. I am your host, Ambrose Ironwood, and today we journey back in time to a quiet town marred by darkness, an enigma that continues to haunt the annals of history. Join me as we explore the Villisca Axe Murders, a case that remains shrouded in mystery. Our story begins with the Moore family, respected and well-liked members of the community. Josiah B. Moore, aged 43, his wife Sarah, 39, and their 4 children, Herman Montgomery, Mary Catherine, Arthur Boyd, and Paul Vernon, lived a prosperous life in Villisca. On that fateful evening, young Mary Catherine invited her friends Ina May and Lena Gertrude Stillinger to spend the night. They all attended the Presbyterian Church's Children's Day program, where Sarah Moore had played a pivotal role. After the program, they returned home, and the Stillinger sisters joined the Moore family, arriving between 9:45 and 10 p.m. A seemingly ordinary night took a sinister turn, one that would forever change Villisca's destiny. At 7 a.m. the following day, Mary Peckham, their neighbor, grew concerned when the Moore family didn't emerge for their daily chores. She knocked on their door, but there was no response. The door was locked. Mary Peckham did what any caring neighbor would do. She called for help. Ross Moore, Josiah's brother, arrived, and they unlocked the door together. What they discovered inside would be etched into their memories forever. In the guest bedroom, the lifeless bodies of Ina and Lena Stillinger lay on the bed, victims of a gruesome act.
And he went in the house, and as he described it, he said it was dark as night in there. And he lit a match. And in the light of that match, he pushed open that door and went to the north and raised the blind and pulled back the covers, and here were 2 unrecognizable victims had been struck in the head with an axe. The axe was leaning against the south wall in that bedroom, along with a 4-pound piece of slab bacon that was wrapped up in a cloth. The killer had taken a black skirt, and he had draped it over the mirror on the dresser. The 2 adults were handled with much more vigor than the children. The children looked like they had been struck once or twice at most. And Joe and Sarah had been struck repeatedly, almost beheaded. I mean, Joe, from the upper teeth on, was gone. I mean, there's no real face there anymore. And in fact, one of the doctors thought the killer might have taken the axe sideways and just bashed him down into the bed.
Crushed the skull.
Crushed the skull down, that's right. There was blood and brain tissue, skull, bone spread all over the top part of the bed. Sarah she was the only one it was absolutely clear she'd been struck with the blade of the axe, so that her face was reduced to slices, he said, about an inch wide.
So there were multiple hits with the blade of it.
That's right.
The investigation uncovered a horrifying scene. Josiah Moore's axe, kept in his own shed, had been turned into a weapon of unspeakable violence. Doctors determined that the murders had occurred between midnight and 5 a.m. 2 spent cigarettes in the attic indicated that the killer or killers had patiently waited. And when the time was right, they descended upon the Moore family. Josiah and Sarah, asleep in their master bedroom, suffered the worst. Josiah bore the brunt of the violence, with his face so disfigured that his eyes were missing. The room itself bore a mark from the murderous act. The killer or killers continued their rampage, using the axe's blade on Sarah and the blunt end on the others. Herman, Mary Catherine, Arthur and Paul met their end in a similar horrifying manner. The brutal violence reached a horrifying crescendo with Lena Stillinger. Her defensive wounds spoke of a brave fight against the assailants. Reverend George Kelly and Senator Frank Jones emerged as suspects, yet no charges were ever filed. Various theories circulated, including the involvement of a serial killer, an embittered suitor, and even the Ku Klux Klan. But the case remained officially unsolved, leaving behind a cloud of mystery and dread. The Villisca Axe Murders would go down in history as one of the most gruesome unsolved crimes. Despite the passage of time, the identity of the killer, or killers, remains a chilling enigma, forever haunting the memories of Villisca, Iowa. Beyond the blood-soaked pages of history, the Villisca Axe Murder House in Iowa harbors a more sinister tale, a tale of restless spirits and eerie encounters that continue to send shivers down the spines of those who dare to enter. It all began shortly after that horrific night in 1912, when 8 innocent lives were tragically taken. In the years that followed, visitors reported strange occurrences within the very walls where the Moore family and the Stillinger sisters met their gruesome end.
It's a family of 6 with 2 little kids staying the night, all brutally murdered in their beds for no reason.
Wait. What's wrong? Ina Stillinger.
I swear it just said Ina.
The light just went out.
No.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh my god.
Thank you. If you want to come and sit with us, feel free to.
In the 1930s, the house gained a new reputation when a family living there reported inexplicable phenomena. Whispering voices, unexplained footsteps, and objects moving on their own. The spirit of the house seemed unwilling to rest. As decades passed, more brave souls ventured into the Villisca Axe Murder House, each with their own spine-tingling experiences. The lingering presence of the past manifested in chilling ways. Some have heard the giggles of unseen children echoing through the empty rooms. Others felt a bone-chilling touch, or saw shadowy figures darting from one corner to another. In 1994, paranormal investigators held a séance in the house, hoping to communicate with the restless spirits. What they encountered, however, was far beyond their expectations. Objects flew through the air, furniture moved of its own accord, and the temperature dropped dramatically. The presence of an otherworldly force became undeniable. Even in recent times, visitors have shared their tales of terror. The house has become a hotspot for paranormal enthusiasts, each seeking an encounter with the unknown. Brave souls who dared to spend the night inside have reported hearing the faint, pitiful cries of children and witnessing apparitions that seem to replay the tragic events of that fateful night. The Villisca Axe Murder House stands not only as a testament to a gruesome crime, but also as a portal to the supernatural. Its walls hold secrets that time cannot erase, and its spirits continue to roam the corridors, reminding all who enter of the darkness that lingers within. Join us in the outer realm as we uncover more chilling stories and explore the unexplained. Until next time, may you find light in the darkest of places.